If you only remember the sunglasses, the mullet, and the high-speed takedowns, then you've only seen half the story. For years, Dwayne "Dog" Chapman dominated reality television, chasing fugitives, rescuing families, and becoming one of the most recognizable faces on TV. But behind the fame was a man shaped by danger, heartbreak, and a past far more chaotic than anything viewers saw on screen. He rose from motorcycle gangs to global stardom. He built an empire with his wife, Beth. He became a household name, and then he disappeared. Since 2015, the world has been asking the same question. What really happened to Dog the Bounty Hunter? Today, we uncover the truth behind his sudden fall from the spotlight, the battles he fought, the tragedies that broke him, and the twists no one ever saw coming. The beginning of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dwayne "Dog" Chapman grew up in Denver, Colorado, in a strict working-class home where hardship shaped him early. His father, a Navy welder turned bail bondsman, had a violent temper, while his mother, a Sunday school teacher, tried to guide the children with faith and discipline. For years he thought the bruises and punishments were normal, only later realizing how much they had marked him. His father, known as Flash for his boxing skills, taught him to fight, but Dog longed more for approval than toughness. At 16, unable to take life at home any longer, he ran off and joined a motorcycle gang called the Devil's Disciples. Despite drifting far from his religious upbringing, he fiercely defended his beliefs. One fight over someone insulting Jesus earned him the nickname Dog, which a biker joked was God spelled backward. The name stuck, and he embraced it. Dog let his bird fly. After 8 seasons of chasing fugitives and keeping his trademark blonde hair on A&E, Dog the Bounty Hunter was canceled in May 2012. But Chapman wasn't shaken. True to his reputation for persistence, he simply switched networks and launched a new show. In April 2013, he brought his bounty hunting skills to CMT with Dog and Beth. On the Hunt. The new series followed a familiar formula: Dog, Beth, and their team traveling from Hawaii to cities across the U.S. to track down criminals. In many ways, it echoed the original show, just with a new network and a new title. One noticeable change, however, was the cast. Only Leland Chapman returned as part of the next generation. Dwayne Lee Chapman Jr. and Lisa Chapman declined to join. "You know, people grow," Beth Chapman told Channel Guide. "At some point, you feel like there's got to be changes made, and we as parents have to be okay with letting our bird fly." He was the one in court for a change. In July 2015, TMZ reported that fellow bounty hunter Charles Fisher had filed a lawsuit against Dwayne and Beth Chapman. He claimed the couple portrayed him as a thief and a corrupt bondsman during an episode of Dog and Beth on the Hunt. Fisher alleged that the show edited a phone call to make it look like he had kept $20,000 in collateral and cheated his insurance company. He said the damage to his reputation destroyed his business, and he demanded $30 million in compensation. There's no public record of a settlement, and considering the size of the claim, it's safe to assume we'd have heard if Dog had suddenly lost that amount. That wasn't the only legal trouble involving the show. Radar Online reported that Justin Behag, a Colorado man who appeared in 14 episodes of Dog the Bounty Hunter, sued Chapman and the producers for underpayment, saying he received only $28,000. But in 2015, a judge dismissed the case, ruling that Behag had signed releases that invalidated his claims. He bailed out Nicolas Cage. In one of the stranger celebrity headlines of recent years, Dog the Bounty Hunter once stepped in to help Nicolas Cage. According to ABC News, Cage was arrested in New Orleans in 2011 after a domestic argument with his wife, Alice Kim, escalated. Witnesses said that after the dispute, Cage began hitting parked cars, and when police arrived, he reportedly told them, "Why don't you just arrest me?" Dog, who happened to be a fan of Cage's, decided to bail the actor out of jail. The charges were dropped later that year, but fans are still joking that this unlikely friendship deserves its own TV series. He opened up about his criminal past. Before he became one of the most recognizable bounty hunters on television, Chapman had first-hand experience with the criminal world because he was involved in a deadly incident that landed him in prison. In 1976, at just 23 years old, he was waiting in a car outside a house in Pampa, Texas, while a friend went inside to buy marijuana. Instead of a quick deal, an argument broke out, and Chapman's friend shot the dealer. "In Texas in the 70s, if you were present, you were just as guilty," Chapman told the Associated Press in 2012. Even though he never stepped inside the house, he was held responsible under Texas law and received a 5-year sentence, serving 18 months. This part of his past resurfaced years later when he was denied entry into the UK for a planned appearance on Celebrity Big Brother, all because of the felony on his record. He spoke out about his troubled stepdaughter. While Dog the Bounty Hunter brought wealth and visibility to parts of the Chapman family, not everyone connected to Dog shared in that success. Through one of his marriages, Chapman became stepfather to Nicole Gillespie, and in September 2015, she made headlines for all the wrong reasons Gillespie was arrested in Honolulu for allegedly robbing a territorial savings bank. At the time, she was 35 and living in a park. "It's always difficult and disheartening when someone you knew as a child grows up and chooses a life of crime," Dwayne and Beth Chapman said in a statement. They added that they hadn't seen Nikki in 10 years, but were still shocked and heartbroken by the news. Gillespie later pleaded no contest. A judge delayed sentencing and granted supervised release so she could enter a drug treatment program. But when she walked away from the facility, she was arrested again, this time facing an additional drug possession charge. The bounty hunt had to end to save bounty hunting. While Dog the Bounty Hunter brought wealth and visibility to parts of the Chapman family, not everyone connected to Dog shared in that success. Through one of his marriages, Chapman became stepfather to Nicole Gillespie, and in September 2015, she made headlines for all the wrong reasons Gillespie was arrested in Honolulu for allegedly robbing a territorial savings bank. At the time, she was 35 and living in a park. "It's always difficult and disheartening when someone you knew as a child grows up and chooses a life of crime," Dwayne and Beth Chapman said in a statement. They added that they hadn't seen Nikki in 10 years, but were still shocked and heartbroken by the news. Gillespie later pleaded no contest. A judge delayed sentencing and granted supervised release so she could enter a drug treatment program. But when she walked away from the facility, she was arrested again, this time facing an additional drug possession charge. It's a dog-meat-dog world. As Dog and Beth. On the Hunt wrapped its third and final season, Chapman found himself in yet another unusual situation, the kind that only seems to happen in the life of a bounty hunter. In March 2015, he and his team arrested a Texas man, James Hawkins, for failing to pay a bond. But while cuffing him, Chapman noticed Hawkins's enormous Great Dane, a 200-pound dog named Duke. According to Hawkins, Chapman instantly fell in love with the dog and even offered him $1,000 in cash to buy Duke on the spot. Chapman and his lawyer denied the claim, but the moment became a quirky footnote in his long, unpredictable career. What made the whole scene even stranger was Hawkins' family. Rather than being upset, they happily posed for photos with Beth Chapman as Dog hauled their father away. He's with Hillary, or at least he was. Dog the Bounty Hunter might come across as a rough-around-the-edges, blue-collar guy with a firm dislike for criminals, traits that often suggest a conservative political stance. But Dog has never fit neatly into any mold. In fact, he surprised many people when he publicly voiced support for Hillary Clinton during the 2016 presidential race. During a 2015 appearance on Fox News Outnumbered, a panelist asked Chapman, who identified as a Republican, what he thought of then GOP frontrunner Marco Rubio. Dog didn't mince words. "I don't think he could beat the dynamic duo," he said. When co-host Andrea Tantaros pressed him on who he meant, he grinned and replied, "The Clintons." He explained that he wanted someone with experience in the White House. As of now, Fox News hasn't brought Dog back to chat about presidential politics, and in the end, neither Rubio nor Clinton won the Oval Office, Beth's battle with cancer. In the fall of 2017, Beth Chapman received devastating news. She had stage 2 throat cancer. Only weeks later, she underwent a grueling 12-hour surgery to remove a tumor that a family friend described as being the size of a plum. 2 months after the operation, Dog shared hopeful updates, saying Beth was cancer-free. But the relief didn't last. A little over a year later, the cancer returned. Doctors discovered a large blockage in her throat, and Beth once again underwent emergency surgery. Around that time, photographers caught Dog and his daughter Lisa leaving a restaurant in Los Angeles and asked about Beth's condition. Dog simply replied, "I appreciate the question. Say a prayer. She's not doing good." Lisa echoed his worry, telling reporters, "We appreciate the support of our fans. We're also devastated." Tragically, Beth's health would only continue to decline from there. Back on the hunt. You can't always teach an old dog new tricks, but you can certainly give him a new TV show. After several years off the air, Dog the Bounty Hunter and his wife Beth announced their return in early 2019 with a new reality series. Titled Dogs Most Wanted and set to air on WGN America, the show promised the same high-adrenaline fugitive chases fans loved, now mixed with a much more personal layer of emotion. As Beth continued her fight against cancer, Dog made it clear in the series trailer that her battle was fueling his drive. "My wife, the love of my life, is fighting for her life," he said. "Instead of being at home helping her, I'm out here looking for you. I'm warning you in advance. May God have mercy on you when I get you." With Beth's passing shortly before the show aired, her struggle and its impact on Dog inevitably became a central part of the series. Dogs Most Wanted might be delayed. After Dog and Beth spent years off television, fans were eager for a new Dog the Bounty Hunter series. But even after Dogs Most Wanted was announced, Beth hinted that viewers might still have a long wait ahead. WGN America released a trailer with the announcement, but the network didn't seem ready to commit to an air date. When a fan asked Beth online when the show would premiere, she sparked concern by replying, "Apparently not this year." She went even further, suggesting that if the network kept delaying, her health might keep her from ever seeing the series air. "I was hoping," she wrote, "to at least see it air." Sadly, she never did. Beth's final days. When Beth Chapman warned that her cancer battle might keep her from seeing the premiere of Dogs Most Wanted, it turned out she wasn't exaggerating. In June 2019, news broke that she had been placed in a medically induced coma, confirming how serious her condition had become. The family tried to stay strong in public. Dog posted a photo of Beth's freshly done nails on Twitter, joking that fans know how she is about her manicure. But his separate plea for prayers showed the gravity of the situation. It was a frightening moment for any family, even more so with the world watching. Before being hospitalized, Beth had spoken openly about her illness. She revealed that she had chosen not to undergo chemotherapy because it simply wasn't for her, adding that her faith would guide her no matter what happened. "For me, this is the ultimate test of faith," she said. "This is my ultimate lesson, and it will either be taught to me or to you. And I am fine with taking the hit for everyone else because I think I know another guy who did the same thing." Shortly after being placed in the coma, Beth passed away. On the morning of June 26th, Dog shared a heartbreaking message. "It's 5:32 in Hawaii. This is the time she would wake up to go hike Coco Head Mountain. Only today, she hiked the stairway to heaven. We all love you, Beth. See you on the other side." After Beth's death, Dog insisted he would never remarry. But life took a different turn. He later met Francie Frayne, who was grieving the loss of her own husband to cancer. Dog originally contacted her late husband for yard work, but instead he and Francie connected through their shared grief. They comforted each other, often talking about Beth and Francie's husband as they healed together. They began dating in March 2020, and by May, Dog had already proposed. Some fans felt he moved on too quickly, but Dog explained that Beth would have wanted him to be happy. In September 2021, he and Francie married and began sharing their new life together online. Not long after, Dog released Hunter's Creed, a film reflecting on life after Beth. He also signed on with the streaming service Unleashed for a series called Dog Unleashed, but in 2021 the project fell apart after Unleashed president Michael Donovan sued Dog, accusing him of racist and homophobic remarks on set and using a taser illegally. Dog denied the accusations, saying the taser was only a prop, and his lawyers called the lawsuit retaliation after their business deal collapsed. At the same time, Dog faced financial trouble. By 2022, he owed $1.6 million in taxes in Colorado and Hawaii, forcing him to sell the Colorado home he and Beth bought years earlier. With the housing market booming, he sold it for nearly double the purchase price, helping him pay down his debt. Though he's no longer a steady presence on TV, Dog still makes headlines. In a recent public appearance, he sparked backlash for comments aimed at transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, reigniting debates about his outspoken nature. Amid the controversy, Dog has taken on a new identity as a Christian influencer. In his book, 9 Lives and Counting, he describes his spiritual journey and says his mission has shifted from hunting fugitives to helping people find faith. Still, he admits he hasn't completely changed, calling himself a Christian outlaw, driven as much by redemption as by the thrill of the chase. What do you think about Dog's transformation over the years? Did anything in his story surprise you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into videos like this. Until next time. Next.